is it kind of not such an important difference, honest and simple, or do you also see quite a lot of difference between these two translations of the same Sanskrit word? What do you think? To be simple and to be honest is basically just the same, or does it for you also sound quite different? A difference? Yes?
I think it's quite the same.
Okay.
Because simple in that sense means in dealing without duplicity, without many different, you don't have a agenda that you don't show, and that's also honesty.
Okay. Thank you, Jai. Yes?
Duplicity checks the honesty. So we have to get rid of duplicity. We have learned to become duplicit, but the simplicity is the very important part of the quality.
Okay, so you mean simple, but then when you're simple, then automatically you are also honest. So that's the basis. Wow, fantastic. You're really good. So if we check out Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, there Bali Maharaj is explained to be, yeah, you want to say something? Yes, please.
Can one not also be a simple demon?
A simple,
connected to something.
A simple, straightforward demon.
Yeah.
That's at least honest.
Okay, then he's okay. He's an honest.
Okay.
An honest demon, huh? Yeah, but Krishna explains one of the divine. It's one of the divine qualities. His 13th chapter.
The demons are very complicated.
60th chapter. Well, complicated, but you really did very good in your answer. Duplicitous, or it's in English it's duplicitous is the adjective, and duplicity. Yeah, in German we would say zwiespältig, mit einer or doppelzüngig. And Bali Maharaj was not like this. Why? Because Bali Maharaj, he promised to give Vamanadev 3 steps of land. Then Shukracharya came and he wanted to stop him from doing this. But then Bali Maharaj said, no, I promised him, so now I have to stand to my word. And in this way, Bali Maharaj stands also for Archavam. He is simple and straightforward without duplicity. He is not kind of argumenting or somehow or other changing his word, but straightforward. And yes, duplicity, the adjective of duplicity is duplicitous, and to not be duplicitous means to be honest. In this way, we have a connection of simplicity and honesty. Thank you very much. That was very nice. Archavam, this term several times to be found in the Bhagavad Gita and also in connection with Bali Maharaj in the 8th canto. And similarly, the wonderful thing on book distribution and Sankirtan is, although we kind of want to give something to the people, it looks from outside like we are selling something to people, but it's not an act of duplicity or cheating or tricking people. No, the wonderful thing is on Sankirtan you experience what kind of honest activity actually it is. We discussed yesterday already, you give Krishna to someone else. What can be more honest than this? So this is very enlivening, and therefore the Sankirtan devotees also, they should deal with the public very honestly. And simultaneously we said also that does not mean to be naive. So we should distinguish between naive and to be honest. Sometimes we have to distinguish at the person we are talking to, that we might not be that honest with them in that regard, that we kind of open our heart or kind of even selling ourselves to them. So we should not be naive, but we should be honest. Yeah, this is a topic for itself. Even you could give a seminar onto that topic by itself. But if there are questions or desire for discussion, we can keep that for the end of the lecture. The next point is to have a good spiritual practice. That also we already discussed yesterday. One should have a good sadhana A steady and good sadhana is the source of strength, inspiration, and character development for the Sanghina devotee and should not be neglected. Yeah, uh, inspiration, strength, and character development. The motto on Sankirtan, which I found very inspiring, is give a lot to Krishna in the morning, and the more you give to Krishna in the morning, the more Krishna you will be able to give to the people during the day. But you are always the giver. We are never those who are served or the enjoyers, but we give, we serve, and in the morning we give to Krishna, chanting the mantras, chanting the prayers very nicely with mridanga, with karatals, everything which we learned and are able to do. We are cooking nicely for Krishna, so we invest a lot into Krishna, and the result will be that we will also be able to give a lot of Krishna to the people. So that is the meaning of our why to have a good sadhana. And the trap in that regard we also discussed already is to think now because I make a good sadhana, there will also be a good result in book distribution. The better my sadhana is, the more books I will be able to distribute. But this is kind of a trap we don't want to fall into, because this is kind of a business dealing with Krishna. Krishna, I chanted so good rounds today in the morning. I cooked so nicely for you, and now the books are not, flowing out like anything. Why is this? What did I do wrong? So this is the wrong concept. We are not dealing with Krishna like this. So this sadhana point has to be understood by us deeply and correctly. Yes, please. Micro. So this may be better. And what Sankirtan devotees should do, of course, is to study regularly, reading Prabhupada's books. We are like a sponge soaking the nectar in Prabhupada's books, and the result will be when we talk to people on the street, the sponge will be kind of pressed, and squeezed out, and everything that comes out of this sponge is the nectar which we got from Prabhupada's books. Therefore, by studying regularly, Sankirtan devotees should become familiar with Srila Prabhupada's books to be able to present them as they are. So it's the real nectar to just repeat what we read and what we learn from the books given by Srila Prabhupada. The principle of the disciplic succession is to simply repeat what we have heard from the spiritual master. And of course, we understand that can expand like anything. You see, Srimad Bhagavatam originally was spoken in 4 verses from it was by Brahma. It was given to Brahma. There were 4 verses, and it ended up in the disciplic succession. Shukadeva Goswami would speak 18,000 verses. So this is not a deviation from a disciplic succession, but this is the principle of spiritual life, that the nectar expands according to the understanding of the disciple. Therefore, also Srila Prabhupada said, if one gets a book and he reads only 1 page, 1 sentence, 1 word, he can change his whole life. And still, we always have to be aware to be in harmony with the other services in the temple. Who here is a Sankirtan devotee? Who would say that he is a Sankirtan devotee? Only one Sankirtan devotee here today? Oh, really? No? He's not a Sankirtan devotee today. He's very... Oh, yeah. Who here is a Sankirtan devotee? It's a upadi. It's a designation, an artificial designation we have to give up to upadis. Yes, but who here is in the Sankirtan mission? Who is engaged here in the Sankirtan mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So, okay, already more. I explained a little bit deeper. We are all Sankirtan devotees. The cooks, the pujaris, they do their service in that mood that let the others also get the nectar of Krishna consciousness. The deities should be dressed so nicely and wonderfully, that the puchari just meditates on. Let everyone see the Lord today like this. We have to share. The cook cooks in such a way that he thinks everyone has to taste this wonderful prasadam. We give the mercy out. And just imagine there are so many people still around that never tasted prasadam. Unimaginable, unbearable for a Sankirtan devotee. So this is the mood. In that sense, everyone is a Sankirtan devotee. Every service should be surrounded around this mood. And this is actually the mood in which Prabhupada created this movement, and in which this movement should go on. And simultaneously, Prabhupada also made statements like, ISKCON without preaching is, I don't remember the correct term, huh? Yes. I remember something like garbage even. So it was a serious term Prabhupada used. ISKCON without preaching is like, not what it is supposed to be. So therefore, this mood should be there. We are all in the preaching mission and Sankirtan mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and should perform our service also in that mood. Eagerness to share Krishna with others. This is what Sankirtan devotees make so attractive. Sankirtan devotees always that they are special. They have a special glowing in their eyes. They have a special way how to do kirtan. Everything is special. This is a Sankirtan devotee. But everyone should have this eagerness to perform a service in such a way that others may become attracted to Krishna in that way, how I perform my service. Yes, Vedasara wants to say something.
Yeah, I found a quote from an evening darshan.
Yeah.
Prabhupada says, without preaching the gospel of Krishna consciousness, we are drinking poison willfully.
We are drinking poison willfully. Oh yeah. So
without preaching is going to become rubbish.
Rubbish. That's the correct word. Thank you very much. Yes. So without preaching, ISKCON will become rubbish. This is how Prabhupada said it. Thank you very much. So yes, important point. Therefore, a mature Sankirtan devotee knows the value of every single devotee and his or her unique contribution, and understands how all services are depending on each other. Just the recent day we talked with Brihatpanu Prabhu, who is quite often here. And he also said, that what keeps one going is the association where we live in, the association of the devotees. So we value everyone. When the devotees in the temple, they don't cook, they don't prepare the nice prasadam, and so on. They give shelter. They give us shelter in the temple, in a clean temple. Then how could we do our service there out on the street? So this is very important, and in this way we value all the services and have gratitude for them, and understand that Krishna appreciates a lot. Then what are, a little bit bigger topic we're diving into now today is, what are the aims of book distribution? What do we want to achieve by standing on the street and distributing the books? Well, of course, first of all, it is the fulfillment of Srila Prabhupada's desire and the desire of the whole Guru Parampara that these books will be distributed in huge quantities. So that's the main goal, or we see that first of all, that Srila Prabhupada wanted his books to be distributed in masses, and also simultaneously with the understanding that actually people are looking for them. This is a wonderful meditation of a Sankirtan devotee. You go out on the street, you talk to people, you come onto the spiritual platform, and you understand actually we have what everyone is looking for. Everyone there outside is looking for Krishna. Actually, they are very eager to get these books. And it depends on how we see it, how we approach people in order to realize this. And this is our inspiration. Therefore, the spiritual masters and Srila Prabhupada were stressing a lot, distribute books, distribute books, distribute books. If it looks like as if people are not appreciative, they don't want, they are not interested, we should understand this is Maya. This is just the influence of Maya. And therefore, if book distribution is not performed, is not being done, is not put into the center, that means also we are in Maya. No? Just a few years ago, there was a temple in our region, in the German Yatra here, and the devotees in America, they got known to it that in the Prabhupada Marathon in December, they are not going out and distributing books. Although this temple was very famous in the past for being like the basis for the greatest book distributors in this region here. You know? And the response was simply from New York, from America, that means they are in Maya. You know? If they are not going out and distributing books, they are in Maya. So it's illusion. So therefore, the Guru Paraba emphasizes a lot, go out and distribute books. Another aim is to introduce a large number of people into the philosophy and practice of Krishna consciousness, and in this way offer them a spiritual education and give them the opportunity to be engaged in devotional service. This is definitely happening through book distribution and in a very personal way. No? It's a very magical thing to talk person to person with another one and introduce them to Krishna consciousness by putting a book into the center. It's magical. Yesterday we saw this picture where Prabhupada gave one of his books to the Prime Minister. So it's a magical moment. But simultaneously we understand nowadays to introduce a large number of people into the philosophy and practice of Krishna consciousness is definitely possible in other ways also, not only on the street talking face to face with another person. The internet gives a lot of possibilities, and it looks like that it will increase and increase also. So therefore, this is not the only way how to do it, but no matter what possibilities the internet brings us in order to preach, to stand on the street and to talk with people face to face and offer them a book is still unique. In other words, someone who tasted the nectar of book distribution, no matter what other possibilities are there. This is not to be beaten by other ways. You know, it's not that we give this up for another activity. No, it's still the nectar of this personal approach of Krishna consciousness through book distribution is so nice, it's incomparable. You don't want to give it up or to miss it, and nothing can replace it. And although, as I said, there are other ways how to introduce a large number of people with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So therefore also Prabhupada said, tax your brains, find ways how to do it. And nowadays we have wonderful other ways through medias how to do it. And also interesting, to propagate the knowledge which is necessary to successfully organize the society so that the needs of everybody, materially and spiritually, can be met. So in other words, we are presenting a philosophy and knowledge in these books, which is basically the only way how to make everyone materially and spiritually advance in his life, and so that he gets everything that he needs. Of course, the main verse of the Bhagavad Gita, when we hear this, is, which verse in the Bhagavad Gita we are reminded of when we hear here that everyone gets what he needs, materially and spiritually. Huh? Perfect. Wow, you're all pandits. Hare Krishna. Just.
Not quite, but to my devotees, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. 9:22. Yes. Nice group work. Yoga Kshema. I give what you I preserve what you have, and I give you what you lack. For those who meditate on my transcendental form, I give what they need, and I preserve what they have. Therefore, this society without Krishna consciousness is in reality not really working. So therefore, so much need is there to distribute this knowledge. I know another Sangha devotee from Simhachalam, and in kind of every book he distributes and he propagates and he offers to others. He says always, it's such pure knowledge. So reines Wissen ist da drin. And this is really such an important point. The society is lacking of this important knowledge. Therefore, distribute these books. And of course, also simultaneously what we are doing, and this is actually the mood in which this book distribution is performed. Every day in the morning we sing Nikunja Yuno Radikalisit Yayari Pir Yuktira Pekshaniya Tatradidas Tatradi Dakshat Ativala Pasya Govindam Vande Guru Shri Charana Ravindam. So not the whole morning program gets mixed up, Govinda Hari Purusha Hare Krishna. So once Prabhupada was asked, or once a devotee, he preached like this, and he said that this is actually the description of a Sankirtan devotee. That the meaning of this verse is that the spiritual master he brings others, he engages others in the service of Krishna, because in the groves of Vrindavan, Nikunja Yuno Radikalisitya, there the divine couple Radha and Krishna are having their intimate loving pastimes, and the mood of a Sankirtan devotee is to engage others in the service of the divine couple. In other words, not looking so much for I am engaged in Krishna's service, I want to be engaged in Krishna's service, but to bring others to the devotional service and engage others in the service of the divine couple. This is actually the mood of the highest and the most wonderful servants of Krishna, which are the gopis of Vrindavan. When Radharani is asked, or Lalita is asked, or when Radharani asks the gopis, would you like to meet Krishna? Then the gopis, the majority answer, no, we are just satisfied serving you. We want to see others being connected with Krishna and coming into this association of Krishna. This is the mood of the gopis. Therefore, the gopis are so dear to Krishna. They take care of others. And this is exactly the mood of a Sankirtan devotee. The Sankirtan devotee is performing the highest service by engaging others in the service of Shri Shri Radha Madanwan Ki Jai, and bringing them to their lotus feet by going out and distributing books. And then one devotee came to Prabhupada and asked Prabhupada, one devotee is preaching like this and he is kind of speculating like this, and is this correct? And Prabhupada would confirm, yes, this is the correct understanding of this verse. Nikunja Yuno Radikalisitya, in the groves of Vrindavan. So therefore we understand this service of book distribution is really on this most confidential, highest platform, bringing others to Krishna, engaging others in the service of Krishna. In other words, when we meditate on this, we see how the army of the gopis, there are so many, unlimited of gopis, goddesses of fortune, who serve Krishna in the spiritual world. They are all there in order to please and satisfy and Krishna and give him pleasure. And our meditation, of course, immediately is that this army of gopis and goddesses of fortune, they are like going out on the street, in masses, and want to fulfill this mission. And similarly, when in the Chaitanya Bhagavata, there is this wonderful pastime of Murari Gupta, who had darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. And Murari Gupta, he would run into the house of Srivas Pandit, where they performed ecstatic kirtan, and he would offer obeisances to first Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then to Nityananda. Of course, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is his beloved Lord. And when he offered obeisances, he got up again, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at him and said, "My dear Murari Gupta, you are such a dear devotee of mine. I never thought you would commit such an offense." And Murari Gupta was like puzzled, He was like, "My dear Lord, what did I do? What was the mistake, And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would tell him, "Yes, no problem. Just go home and sleep one night over it. Tomorrow you will understand everything." And then Murari Gupta went home and he would lie himself down and he would go to sleep and he would have an interesting dream. And in his dream, Nityananda Prabhu appeared. And he saw Nityananda very beautifully standing there in his unique form and shape that he has with his clothing. And suddenly Nityananda Prabhu, he got a plow. And suddenly Nityananda Prabhu got this very bright complexion, And suddenly Nityananda Prabhu got this bluish clothes. And suddenly there was standing Balaram in front of him. It was Balaram. And then suddenly Krishna appeared on the side of Murari Gupta and whispered into his ears, "You understand now? I am the younger one." Krishna and Balaram. Krishna is the younger brother. Balaram is the elder one. Nityananda is Balaram. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. So the etiquette is first offer obeisances to the elder one, which is Nityananda, and then to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Murari Gupta would dream in such a way, and he would start shouting while sleeping and waking up, "Nityananda, Nityananda," in ecstasy, And his wife would hear it, and she would get confused. What's happening here? She would start shouting also, "Krishna, Krishna." You can see this like a transcendental, chaotic bliss room, the home of Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta was shouting, "Nityananda, Nityananda." His wife was shouting, "Krishna, Krishna." And he would run in this ecstasy again to the room of Srivas Pandit and go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nityananda and immediately fall to the ground, offer his obeisances to Nityananda and then to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was pleased. You see, now you have understood. And then he would speak with Murari Gupta. And behind Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was standing Gadadhar Pandit. We have Gadadhar in the Panchatattva, and then we also have Gadadhar Pandit, and it's a very interesting Balaram. We know that when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, that of course Hare Krishna means Radha and Krishna. But also Prabhupada explains that Rama, that can mean Balaram, that can mean Parashuram, that can mean Lord Ramachandra. It's all okay. Ram. Depends on your meditation. But of course, for one who is a little bit thoughtful, the question arises then also, okay, if we chant Hare Krishna, and Hare is Radha and Krishna is Krishna, that's all right. But if then Rama is Balaram and they chant Hare Rama, who then is Hare? Radha, Balaram, not really working. We understand in Vrindavan it's like this, when Radharani sees traces of Balaram on the ground because he leaves a kind of silver trace behind him, it's said. When she sees these traces of Balaram, she goes another direction. It's kind of Rasabhas. Radharani, the lover of Krishna, Balaram, the brother of Krishna, Rasabhas. So they are not really kind of together. And so they kind of take care of this etiquette or behavior. So therefore also how can, when we chant Hare Rama, when Ram is Balaram, then how can then Hare be Radharani? It does not make sense, it's not working. So then who is Hare? And in the what is it called? Gaura Desha Ganadipika. Thank you very much. There is a verse which explains that Gadadhar Pandit in Chaitanya Lila is two personalities combined. And these two personalities are the complexion of Srimati Radharani in person and the topmost dear girlfriend of Balaram. And she is mentioned there in name. And she is Purnananda. So just in case if you ever thought, if I chant Hare Rama, who then is Hare, when in Hare Krishna it's Radharani, the dearmost, topmost girlfriend of Balaram is a gopi named Purnananda. And also Prabhupada writes it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he quotes the Gaura Ganodesha Deepika in that regard. So you can check it in the scriptures. Anyhow, this is Gadadhar Pandit, and this Gadadhar Pandit in Chaitanya Lila was standing behind of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased with Murari Gupta, and he would give Gadadhar Pandit a betel nut which he was chewing in his mouth, and Gadadhar Pandit then would give it to Murari Gupta. So Murari Gupta got the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Mahaprasadam directly from his mouth, from the hands of Gadadhar Pandit, who is the bodily effulgence of Srimati Radharani in person, and the topmost dear girlfriend of Balaram in person. So wow, cried. Today we're going really esoteric, Hare Krishna, it's Radha Madan Mohan's, so to say, how to say, blessing or desire, or what, yeah, like this, mercy. And then Murari Gupta would take this betel nut chewed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he would put it in his mouth, and chew it and get blissed out like anything. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would tell him, now go and wash your hands. Now you are kind of muchi. Understanding, yes. And Murari Gupta, he would put his hands and would put him on his head out of ecstasy, And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he saw that he did not wash his hands, but he touched his body, and suddenly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood completely changed. He got really angry. And he told him, now you have contaminated your body completely by touching your head with these muchi hands. What have you done, So we need electricity here. Sorry. Oh. No. Where did we put it yesterday? Oh, here. Kind of stupid. Okay. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he changed his mood. He became angry, and then after speaking like this because of the betel nut, he suddenly started speaking of a Mayavadi sannyasi in Benares. Anyway, I don't remember the name now. But he speaks of him, and he says there in Benares there's a Mayavadi sannyasi, and he constantly teaches Mayavadi philosophy. He speaks of the Vedas, but in an impersonal way. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I don't know what I shall do. I already sent him leprosy. He's suffering from leprosy like anything. Leprosy is a pretty heavy sickness, But still he continues preaching this Mayavadi philosophy. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, by doing so, he is cutting my body with a knife. He's cutting my body with a knife and putting wounds into my transcendental body. So this Mayavadi philosophy and impersonal philosophy, in other words, is kind of hurting or putting wounds to the transcendental body of Krishna. The Mayavadis, they say that Krishna, he has no eyes, he cannot see. Krishna, he has no ears, he cannot hear. Krishna, he has no hands, he cannot touch. Krishna has no mouth, he cannot eat. In this way, they are kind of putting wounds onto the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord. This is actually how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu names it in the Chaitanya Bhagavata. And of course, we understand that the whole world is like this. If you go out there, everyone says God does not exist, God is impersonal, God is energy. You have to stand like this. Some are more serious, some are less serious. But not everyone there outside is kind of doing this, and this army, this Sankirtan army of the gopis, they understand this is like an emergency case. The army of the gopis, they schwärmen aus. How do you say it in English? They swarm. They swarm out into this field of Maya, of the Mayavadis, and there is no time. We need to heal these wounds of the Lord, which his transcendental body has. This is like the mood of the gopis, immediately serving the Lord. And so simultaneously, our meditation on Sankirtan is like this. Every book we distribute on the street, when a person takes his book in his hands and sees the book and says, oh, that's nice, it looks beautiful, and they become interested. All these activities, they are like Premanchana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, ointment on the wounds of the transcendental body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So every time we distribute books, the meditation is like, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like, that's so good. It feels so good. It's ointment on the bleeding wounds of the body of the Lord, so to say, given to him by the impersonalists and by the Mayavadis. And this is the meditation of the Sankirtan devotees, swarming out and healing the wounds of the Lord. And this is, of course, the mood of the gopis. Immediately we have to serve the Lord. Immediately. Emergency case. Immediately. Everyone out and healing the wounds of the Lord. So therefore, this service is definitely in the mood of the topmost servants of the Lord, of the gopis. And this is being done by engaging others in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And for those who never came in contact with Krishna so far, to start the devotional exchange between ISKCON and the public. Yes. Understandable? And for those who already got information and know about Krishna, also to offer them information how they can further engage themselves in devotional service and continue being in contact with ISKCON step by step. First to get a book, then when we see them again, we teach them the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It's not Hare Krishna. It's not Krishna, it's Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna. No, Krishna. We have to teach them really. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then they start chanting. And in the next step, we explain how to offer food. And the next step, how to build an altar at home and worship the Lord on the altar. So it goes on and goes on and goes on, the practice of devotional service. And in order to do this, we inform them through going out on the street and meeting them. And of course, nowadays, this is perfectly possible to be done also via online medias. But still, always when we go out, we meet people who are not connected with the world via online medias, and they are interested in what we're doing. So therefore, it's important to do that also nowadays, to go out and speak personally with people, those who have no chance in another way to come in contact with Krishna. Once I was distributing in a very small village in Austria, a small but nice village, where other distributors distributed a lot of books in the past. But on that day, when I was there, and I hoped it will become a good day, no one was on the street. Nothing was possible on the street. That was one of these days, we talked yesterday, where you just have to say to Krishna, okay, Krishna, that's what it is today, I'm not breaking through this, make it possible still somewhere, I don't know. I just accepted, my dear Lord. And this acceptance opened the doors. I went door to door, knocking on the doors of the people, and suddenly I was standing in the living room of an elderly lady, and she was quite appreciative, and we would talk and talk. And at a certain moment, she became really honest, and she opened her heart to me. One of the 6 loving exchanges between devotees, accepting, taking gifts, offering gifts, giving prasadam, accepting prasadam, asking confidential questions, and reveal your heart in confidence. And suddenly I understood this is a person suffering in the material world, loaded full with bad karma and sinful activities. And now at that moment she revealed her heart to me. And she explained to me how she lived so far in a kind of a hippie style, especially when she was young, did all kinds of sinful activities. She explained to me, not in detail, but approximately. And that was enough for me to understand that her situation is really serious. And then finally she asked me the question. She's now really kind of afraid of death. What will happen to her after such a life when she dies? And I could sense she was really afraid of dying. And she asked me, what can I do now? Can you help me somehow or other in order to not go to hell for my sinful life, And I was standing there in this living room, hearing this from this lady. And I just took out my karadas from my Lakshmi bag. So I know something, we can do something. So we do together, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And a few minutes later, we were standing there in this living room with this sinful hippie lady and chanting together, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And it felt so much like the mood of Nityananda. Nityananda goes to the most sinful persons at home and asks them, please chant Hare Krishna. And the result will be you will not go to hell. Your sinful reactions will be nullified, and you will be happy in this life, and you can forget all your sinful behavior that you showed in the past. So that was completely in that mood of Nityananda, going from door to door. And she did. We were standing there in her living room. She would clap in her hands and chant Hare Krishna with me. And something happened in her. I could see. But then I also immediately felt the mission was accomplished. We would chant Hare Krishna, and I would just leave and go to the next apartment. But it felt so good, That person was really a sinful person. She lived maybe like kind of a prostitute, so to say, and she knew that she will suffer for this. And she really seriously asked me, please, can you tell me, what can I do in order not to go to hell? And we did the right thing. We chanted the holy name. We made the kirtan. That's the mission. And that's only possible when you go out and meet people personally. So this is one of the aims of book distribution, helping people from not entering into hellish conditions of life after this life, after death. And of course, one of the goals of going on book distribution is our own purification. We heard yesterday what we have to become purified from, especially the false ego, our imaginations of what we are. Also in the spiritual realm, we are a Sankirtan devotee, we are a brahmachari, we are a devotee, we are sannyasi, we are guru even. All this is ahankara, false ego. In order to go back home, back to Godhead, we have to become completely purified from this. Therefore, we go out on book distribution. Also for our own purification, very important. And also to create auspicious circumstances in the society. It's very auspicious if people got a good impression of the books, they remember it, and next time they may even approach us and ask us what other books we also have. It also happens. It's very nice to see this result of Sankirtan happening. To strengthen the consciousness of the public that ISKCON is authentic. People read a lot, people see a lot about the devotees, about Krishna consciousness, about the temples, about Hare Krishna, especially in the internet. Just recently we talked about what happened in the past in this movement. The 80s and 90s were heavy times of this movement. not so easy to digest what happened at that times. Therefore, the people, they have intense impressions also when they look on the internet, what is Hare Krishna. But if we go out and speak with these persons face to face, they definitely get the impressions that you are different as I have imagined. You are a really nice person, you are really happy. That is authentic what you are presenting. So therefore now I got a little bit more convinced about the authenticity of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, regardless what we read on the internet, just because of this personal exchange with this Sangha devotee. You get convinced of this. This is also a wonderful experience we make on Sankirtan, that you leave a really great impression in the heart of another person. Sometimes even, as we said, it happens, people start crying on the street. Because of this honesty, this authenticity of spirituality lived by a devotee, people really get the impression this is a real thing. And of course, people always ask us, you're living as a monk, you live in a temple, where do you get money from? That's the main question nowadays, where do you get money from? And of course, when in the beginning I was asked this question, I thought about it, and simple and basically speaking, it's by selling the books. Prabhupada gave us everything. He also gave us opportunity to become economically stable by selling and distributing his books, which are so valuable. Everyone who hears a little bit of the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam, how old Srimad Bhagavatam is, what the Sanskrit language actually, what's the meaning of a book translated from Sanskrit into German, how rare it is actually, and what information is there inside, and how unique this is, then immediately people will understand that the value of such a book is really big. And in this way, the financial support of this movement is guaranteed if we present these books on their own merits, so to say, on their own value. This is one of the important slogans or mottos, for example, of Vaisheshika Prabhu on book distribution. How do we distribute Bhagavad Gita? How we distribute Srimad Bhagavatam? We present the books by their own merit. We read the books, we understand this amazing information, and this is so valuable. You cannot give enough for it, and therefore the financial support is also based on book distribution, or at least this is the idea of the founder Acharya of this movement. And of course, also nice meditation when we distribute books and get donations, that a small part of this donation which people are giving goes to Mayapur, goes to the building of the DOVP. They support this huge project. This is the idea of book distribution. On one hand, to continue printing books, on the other hand, to support other projects, temple buildings all over the world. To establish the understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to liberate the world from the clutches of impersonalism and voidism. Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantra, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. He compiled or made this pranam mantra by himself, and this is very meaningful to us. The mission is to liberate the world from the clutches of impersonalism and voidism. And this is a very subtle thing. Even sometimes we talk to Christians, and if you talk to them in a few sentences, it turns out that Jesus Christ is energy. Didn't you know it? That's actually the idea. Jesus Christ is energy. It's just In the Bible, it's like with a little bit, but actually, the truth is that he is energy. And sometimes you speak with Krishna, really, wow, far out. I never heard that, and they follow it, they believe in it, and this is their goal, Hare Krishna, amazing, So the whole world is full of this, Impersonalism, Mayavadi, energy, all these things. This is a very heavy point of the acharyas to preach against it, to establish the real Siddhanta, especially through book distribution. There the Siddhanta is given, the words of the pure devotee. Bhagavad Gita as it is. Krishna is a person. Krishna is to be served by the devotees. There is the supreme person, there is the process of bhakti, and there is the servant. This is love. Love means two persons. Therefore, God is a person. You can talk to Krishna, you can speak with Krishna, you can see Krishna, you can cook for Krishna, Krishna can accept your service. Personalism, in order to liberate the world from this wrong conception, we go out and distribute these books. Okay, so in this way we rushed through the topic of the goals and aims of book distribution. We even talked of a wonderful, amazing pastime of Chaitanya Bhagavata, which can be elaborated even more, and which actually gives us this amazing impression, what book distribution means to Krishna. If we give to such a lost son, so to say, of the Lord, we give them a book. He is remembered of the Lord, and this gives also pleasure to Krishna, like the father is happy when a son returns back to home, and that son who brings the lost son back home is very dear to the father. So in some Christian words, we can explain it like this, and we elaborated it today even a little bit deeper and in an esoteric way by hearing this amazing pastimes of Chaitanya Bhagavata. Madhya Lila, chapter 20, if you are interested in making a research. Okay, then we stop here today. It's already 9 o'clock. Tomorrow we want to continue with the qualification of a book distributor. And if you have any questions or some comments or corrections or inspirational thoughts you would like to share, now is the time for that. Otherwise, we wish you a successful day on Sankirtan today in Triya. Please keep these thoughts in your mind. Every book the person takes is like ointment on the wounds of the Lord. Doesn't matter if we distribute hundreds or thousands, but if just one book is distributed, then the mission is already successful. And Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Grandarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Haribol Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai.